The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Napick and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Napick.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Thank you for joining us right here. Another brand new, fresh New Year's show for 2024. We're so glad that you're here. And oh yeah, serial number of this show is 506. That's right. So thank you for joining us. I am Bill Napick, your host. And this radio adventure begins right now as we have a variety show. And our first guest, they are home inspectors. The company is called Redfish Inspection. And we have Cheyenne Sprouse and Will Meisgate. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us, Bill.
Hi, thank you.
So here we're all charged up, right?
We're excited.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's also exciting. I don't know when we had a home inspection team on last, but not just one, but two people to represent the company. So first of all, Will, I understand you are the founder of the company. Let's tell people about the company, Redfish.
All right, Redfish Inspections was started this is the 14th year that we're in business. Got into the business mainly because I couldn't get a job, and nobody was hiring me. And
so let's start our own company, right?
Exactly. And so it was about that time that I bought my first house, and the guy who inspected my house got me really interested. And my wife was like, "Hey, why don't you do something like that? You know, like rent a husband." I said, "What kind of business are you wanting me to get into?" She goes, No, it's like a handyman type of business." I said, "Nah, I don't really want to get back into to handiwork, but that home inspection business sounds really interesting." And so I thought, I can be a technician the rest of my life. I enjoy the work, and it wasn't until I joined a mastermind group that I figured out and understood that we can turn home inspection into a real business. And that's about the time that I hired Cheyenne, and she can tell her part of the story.
Yes.
Well, let's tell people what you do for the company, Cheyenne.
So I handle marketing, so I have the fun job of going out and meeting the agents and seeing how we can build business together and just support them.
So give us an idea in the marketing. I was thinking about that before you came on. In the marketing of a home inspection company, what are some of the things that you're doing? I mean, being on the radio is a good idea.
It's a pretty good one.
I think so. But also, what else are you doing to promote the cost?
We're going out and we're doing buyer seminars. We're teaching them the inspection process so that they can better educate their buyers and sellers. I do a lot of headshots. So most of the agents that you see have billboards up around here I've photographed, kind of creative. And just anything that I can do to help support them.
You're always thinking of new ideas.
Always trying.
What about social media? I mean,
social media is a beast, yeah.
Which one works the best for you? Or of course, there's Facebook, YouTube, and all that. But do you have any that you really like that you're finding results on the most?
Facebook's always been a pretty good, strong contender. TikTok is my next one. We get a lot of people that are requesting videos and things, so we're just trying to get the guys out there talking about what they're seeing and why it's important, what to do about it.
Well, Will, let's tell people as far as, first of all, your area of coverage. Now, people hear the show all over the place, certainly here in the greater Houston area, sometimes
Absolutely.
even beyond. But how far do you geographically service?
So from the island, from Galveston all the way up to Lake Conroe.
You go that far?
I've got inspectors that live on the lake, so we can actually even go beyond that. And then anywhere from Beaumont all the way to Katy.
What about Cold Spring, Texas?
How far away
That's
is that?
a little bit east of Conroe.
Yeah, we'd go there.
You go there, so
Yeah.
you're covering it. As far as home inspections, people have an idea, and a lot of times people say, anytime there's a crack or something, have a home inspection. Well, it doesn't fit. Can't figure everything out. But what are the new things that you're doing as far as how it's evolved, home inspections, that is? Or anything new that's evolved, say, in the last couple of years that really helps the homeowner understand the condition of the home before they buy it?
Yeah, so really early on, the way that we were able to differentiate ourselves from other companies was just utilizing technology as much as possible. So we were one of the first companies to use infrared thermal imaging, and so we scan all the walls and ceilings. we were one of the first ones to use a tool called the zip level, which is what the engineers use to measure the foundation flatness. We also utilize sewer scopes. So we go down and we scope that sewer line between the house and the street. So really it allows us to see things that other companies can't, just utilizing cameras and technology.
Let's go to the sewer line. So you're saying you put a camera or a device
A camera.
from the home.
Yep.
And is that the part where there's that clean out looking thing?
Yep, that's it.
So you put it in there and it goes to the street.
It goes all the way to the street.
And that can tell you what, if the pipe is ruptured.
Burst, if you have root intrusion, if you have clogs, if your kids threw a toy down there and it clogs up the line. We find disconnected pipes. Our biggest one, we had a camera, unfortunately, that got stuck, but it was under the foundation. And the pipe had been disconnected for so long that you had like a cavern under the foundation. They would have not been able to see without that camera.
I would think if I'm the homeowner and I found out that there was something in the sewer line that messed things, that would be bad news.
Pretty costly.
It is, yep.
Because to fix it, then pretty expensive, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that repair in particular was about $4,000. And it was right at the edge of the foundation, so they didn't have to dig too deep into the foundation.
The flip side, if everything's okay, away we go, right?
It's peace of mind. I mean, all the tools that we use, and even if we came out with a fairly clean report, the idea is you've got peace of mind.
You know where things are.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as, let's say an average home, is an average home 2,500 square feet?
For us, yes. Yep.
So then how does pricing work if I say, hey, I want you to inspect my 2,500 square foot home that I might buy? Do you have a regular thing that you do, or are there options that I pick?
There are a bunch of options, and we sell packages. And so the idea is we'll go with the basic package, which is just the home inspection. But then if you want a termite inspection, if you want the sewer scope, if you want a full infrared scan of the house, if you have a pool, if you have a well and septic, all of those things. Do you want the water analyzed? Do you want a mold inspection? So we're kind of a turnkey company. We can do all of those inspections.
There you go. So like a menu.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's exciting. So, yeah, and the pool, that's a whole nother. How much extra is the pool, by the way? Again, average size pool. They're all different sizes.
So the size of the pool won't matter.
Okay.
It's a pool. And I believe it's 150.
And about when you find a problem in a pool, right? Mm-hmm. What are is there one or two things that are usually happening with a pool that you see it all the time or not?
Typically where we're going to find issues are going to be at the pumps. So either they're not bonded, so on the electrical side of things, it's a pretty easy fix, or you just have leaks.
And the leaks would be in the piping?
Typically at the connection of the pump and the pipe, yep.
There you go. And Cheyenne, what are some of the other things that you're doing, and what's the outlook? Do you have a busy schedule as far as doing your marketing chores out there?
Right now, so it's me and another marketing lady. We visit over 100 offices, so we were just talking this morning about what those pop buys look like and the conversations that are being had. But I'm doing a lot of classes. So we have a CE school. We work with other CE providers, so we ask the agents what CE classes they need. And then we also put together just enrichment things, things that they have questions about that they want more answers. I'm going to find somebody to teach it for them. So that's been, we had an instructor come in and do a safety class a while back, and anything that they need.
And when you say 100 100
offices.
100 offices, in what period of time?
We visit them every month. So.
Wow, You're busy.
I see my
We're
face
busy
pretty often.
driving all over the place.
Yes.
That's amazing. So, a side note there, Will, one of the things we talked about before the show, you're from France.
I am from France, born and raised there.
How awesome. And at what age did you come over here? Or how did you find Houston of all the cities you could have moved to?
So my parents are American, but they moved to France 50 years ago. So they're more French than most French people now. And my grandparents lived in Dallas, and I ended up meeting the love of my life in Dallas.
Right there in Dallas.
Yeah, and I was living in a different country back then, so we lived in Finland. And when I met my now wife, I just went back to my boss. I said, you can fire me or I'm quitting, but I'm moving to the States.
Okay, so Finland would be colder than France.
Yes.
And what part of France? Paris?
I was born and raised in Paris suburbs my first 14 years, and then we moved to the central part of France.
Out of curiosity, if you had to go back to either of those countries, would you go to Finland or France? Tough question.
It's a tough.
Is
yeah,
it?
that really is a tough one. I love the culture from both countries. I love the people from both countries. What I don't want to do is really move back to a country that I lived in. So if I moved away from the States, which our next country is most likely New Zealand, I would not want to move back to the States, mainly because there's so much to see and experience in the world that I want to do that. I don't want to go back to something I already know.
Better food in Finland or France?
France.
No doubt.
That's a quick answer.
This chocolate croissants there are amazing.
Cheyenne, did you see that?
No, pain au chocolat.
Pain au chocolat.
Okay, so if you're craving French food right here in Houston, Texas, where do you go? I can't even think of a French
There's
restaurant.
a
Tell
L'Étoile
us.
Cuisine that is just like across the street from the studio, actually.
It's called what?
L'Étoile Cuisine.
I think I know where it is. Yeah.
And wonderful chef, French chef, beautiful food. It doesn't just taste good, it looks good. That's part of the experience.
I'm thinking beef bourguignon right about now.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, Redfish Home Inspections. Give us an idea. Let's say you're normal, 25-foot home, 2,500 square feet of home, and they get most everything. There's no pool. About how much is it, and how long does it take to do a home inspection like that?
If they got the platinum package, all of the services apart from the pool, because there's no pool,
Right.
It'll probably be around 600, 650.
There you go.
And it'll take we send out one inspector at a time, unless it's a big house, then we'll send a team out, but anywhere from 3 to 4 hours.
What about drones?
So
Using the drones?
we were one of the first companies to use drones, and I quit using them for a while just because, one, you needed to get licensed. And so as I grew the teams, I didn't see basically the ROI on it. And so what I decided to do was use inspection pull with GoPro cameras, because you can use those when it's raining.
Exactly. Before we close the segment, Will, what else do you want people to know? And let's tell them how to reach your company.
Oh, you can reach us, Redfish Inspections, either by email at scheduling@redfishinspections.com, or you can give us a call at 713-568-8184.
And Cheyenne, if someone wants to have you speak at a situation, a real estate office to talk about the company and further your marketing powers, what should they do?
They can email me, Cheyenne@redfishinspections.com, and Cheyenne is CHEYENNE at redfishinspections.com. Then call me, same number, 713-568-8184, and I'll be happy to come out.
Good. Thank you guys so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
As we continue, we have Joshua Beard, JP Byers. The company is Crush City Realty Group, powered by Keller Williams. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Here you are. Both of your names begin with a J. I mean, right there, that's saying something. You're part of a team. First of all, JP, let's tell people about your team.
So we are a Houston-centric team. We honestly focus all of our energy into trying to gain as much market share, specifically in the Southeast Houston area. We will go anywhere. We put our team together because I'm a commercial real estate agent. I'm no longer even a realtor. And so I needed somebody to be able to hand all of my residential leads over to. Josh is actually the tech trainer in our market center, and he's one of the people that brought me over from Keller Williams, from a smaller company. And we just work well together. We pair well together. We see things. We see different ways to achieve the same goal. And so because of that, all of my weaknesses are his strengths, and all of his strengths are my weaknesses.
It works together hand in hand in a powerful way. Joshua, let's tell people your perspective on the team, and also give us an idea, as here we are at the beginning of the year, how do you see things unfolding?
Well, so the unique thing, I mean, JP kind of hit on it, was we're very Houston-centric. So we have some people that are on our team that are very much about the Houston culture, about the Houston area, more specifically Astros fans. And that's just kind of what we lean into is that brand for us.
And one of the things, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your office, the Keller Williams office, literally is across the street from NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, right?
Yes, sir.
So that sounds pretty awesome.
It is.
It's a great place to live.
Great place to live. You might even you might have an astronaut as a buyer or seller. Have you run into any astronauts that you've done business with yet?
Not personally, but our office has. One of our agents is actually selling Buzz Aldrin's old house that was in their Nassau Bay.
Very interesting. Well, this is one of the favorite real estate shows for astronauts, I'm told.
Nice.
I don't have verification yet, but I've been told that. So as we look ahead, the market is unfolding. And, last year we heard about it slowing down a little bit near the end of the year, last quarter. I don't know if you ran into that, but I have a feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's powering up again slowly but surely.
That's a pretty strong feeling because that's exactly how we feel. So generally speaking, you're going to find that commercial is the last thing to sway in either direction. And so over 2023, it seemed like commercial was going to be the only thing that really moved in the real estate sector, with the exception of like first-time home buyers and such. And we saw that, like, for the most part, anything outside of the first-time home buyer range, which is 300 or less, pretty much sat on the market and just sat. We in commercial saw lots of large deals still going down. People came stronger cash. We started seeing a lot more financing, like seller financing and such, very creative financing situations occurring just to get through stuff. But it still happened. Now we're heading into 2024. Interest rates are dropping. It's an election year. We are starting to see things move very, very quickly.
And also, let's give people an idea. As we're all in this room, we all kind of know where you're at, and we know that the area of Houston that you are in. For people, and I say this for people listening outside of Houston, especially, maybe even Dallas or in other states, but where you're located, Houston, let's say, is in the center, where your Clear Lake area is an office. You are southeast. Yep. Near the water. So one of the elements that you have, or part of your marketplace, is water. So people might want a condo by the water. You run into that very much? Or Galveston. You're not far, right?
Yeah. So actually, that's like my wife and I are about to put our house on the market, and we'll be looking for a condo on the water. We're downsizing. And so, yeah, that's something that happens all the time. We get quite a few buyers that come in looking for stuff. It's funny because the other flip side of that is we also have buyers that are doing their best to get away from it, and so they're selling their properties by the water. Insurance rates increasing last year by 40%, just destroyed people. And now you're looking at homes on the water. We have a client right now we're working with that if their home didn't have transferable flood insurance that they pay $1,200 a year for right now, to get the flood insurance for their home would be roughly $9,000 to $10,000, and it's just ridiculous. It's a $370,000 home.
And we're hearing about that in Florida as well. I think I have a solution for that. But what about a high-rise condo on the 9th floor?
That's the way to do it.
Or the 5th and up.
You don't even have to be that far. All you have to do is just hit that BFE, 22 feet, and you're in good shape.
All right, that's an idea. Let's do that. In the meantime, when you say you're looking for a condo, what are the price points if someone wanted to follow suit like you're doing there, JP, where they say, hey, condo by the water, elevated sounds pretty good. What are we at? 4, 5, 6?
No, not even. So that's actually kind of the cool part about Clear Lake is you really have a plethora of price ranges on the water. And so you can get on the water in Seabrook for $220 to $250. Wow. You're looking at a 1,200 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo. Your HOA dues is what really kills people, and they have a really hard time understanding
with condos.
Yeah, because you're going to be looking anywhere between $400 and $700 a month in HOA dues, but that $400 to $700 a month covers everything. All you have to worry about covering is home insurance for inside of your condo, which is roughly $2,000 a year.
Joshua, give us an idea with social media. It's huge and all that. What social media outlets do you use or do you find the most effective in your world?
Well, right now, I mean, trusty Facebook is going to always be one thing, but I think someone's already mentioned before is TikTok's slowly starting to move into that social sphere of things you can reach out to. And we've started pushing into that. We have things lined up for this year for 2024, and moving that marketing, not just Facebook, but moving it to Instagram, to TikTok, to even X, formerly known as Twitter. So everything that's out there that's able to get everything that we're wanting to consumers, that's how we're going to do it.
And you're helping both sellers and buyers, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
So when you're helping, say, a seller versus a buyer or vice versa, are you using one platform more than the others, or they're equal?
Kind of equal. And I actually was listening to a podcast this morning, that when you're doing social media, you're getting feedback from people that already know what you do and already know who you are. So you're really relying on boots on the ground. For listings, we're putting out flyers in neighborhoods, and we're doing stuff like that to really know what's going on with those listings or open houses, stuff like that. So it's a little bit different depending on what you're working with, but generically kind of the same.
And kind of going back, JP, I'm thinking of the water, the condos, and things like that, even the homes, let's say. But price-wise, you could spend $1 million if you want. I mean, there's a lot, right?
You can go. So where I live currently, I live in Taylor Lake Village. In Taylor Lake Village, I live in the probably consider it the second cheapest neighborhood on Old Kirby Road. My house probably being the cheapest house in the area will sell for probably $415 to $420. I can walk for 5 minutes and be standing in front of a $10 million home, and never leave Old Kirby. So between the four neighborhoods, the prices range anywhere between $280,000 to $300,000, all the way to $10 million, and it's not hard to find.
So there's a lot of variety then.
Yes.
And then also when you get out of the water area like Clear Lake, Seabrook, even Galveston, what other areas do you find yourselves as a team the most as you get closer to Houston, Joshua?
I don't know, kind of
go home, dude.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of do everything around that eastern side of LaPorte, Deer Park, Pasadena. And then we always, of course, have our transactions go a little bit more south and on the water.
We're talking with Joshua Beard. You're not related to the ZZ Top?
I wish.
Okay.
I've been told, but I don't think that's true.
Just thought of him. I love that group. JP Buyers. Their company's called Crush City Realty Group. And also, fellas, you have other members on the team. You may want to mention them or at least demonstrate the power of the team. Sure. You're both here, but who else is on the team?
So we actually have somebody who speaks bilingual, and her name is Veronica Rivas. And then we have Jordan Appleby, who's the newest addition to our team, and he's new and just getting in, but man, he's coming on strong. He came in and he's already got 4 people interested just from him and his social media presence. Jordan came on strong with a strong social media presence because he's also has his own band, and he's kind of a local legend, I guess. So Big Jordan Band is his place, and so he already has 5,000 people following him just from that.
Let's tell people now, the last 10 buyers that you had, by the way, your name's JP Buyers, but the last 10 buyers, how many were cash, JP, if any?
So, no, I haven't had any cash buyers, especially in 2023. I handle all the commercial. And so really my biggest thing in 2023 was leases. And we did leases everywhere from a $27,000 a year lease to a $2.8 million lease.
Joshua, before we close this segment, let's tell people how they can reach you, Joshua Beard.
Sure. So they can reach us on social media. They can search Crest City Realty Group. They can also reach out to our admin at Crest City Realty Group. And they can also drop me a line at 281-917-4268.
And for commercial, I'm 713-423-5898.
And Joshua, your phone number again is?
281-917-4268.
And mine is 713-423-5898.
Crush City Realty Group. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It was awesome being here. We appreciate it.
Well, it's time to talk money with Chris Kelso. The company is New American Funding. Mr. Kelso, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Bill. How you doing today?
We are super awesome. And once again, money is the lifeblood of almost everything,
Yes.
right? Especially real estate transactions. So let's tell people about your company.
So New American Funding, we are a 21-year-old company. We actually are probably the 10th largest lender in the United States right now, per information last year. One of the cool things about us, I say, is how big we are in the servicing platform. So we have a very big servicing platform. We retain 99% of every loan that we originate. So it's pretty cool. So from a realtor perspective, realtors get to close and they get to be co-branded on our marketing for the life of the servicing of that loan right there. So it's pretty cool. But we have all regional operations. Our servicing center in our mortgage side is based in Austin, Texas. So 500 employees servicing about $80 billion worth of loans out of Austin, Texas right there. And more importantly, just technology, fun, and freedom, as we tell everybody, is to be able to have a good time, be able to get somebody, create a raving fan, get them in the home, and more importantly, get them great financing.
Let's tell people your outlook. I mean, when we think about any mortgage company buying a home, just in general, rates. That's all we hear about, right? I'll say it one more time. Rates.
I know.
So
it's always about that.
You get tired of hearing about rates, but where are they going?
So right now they're moving down. So interesting. The other day I was listening to Tucker Carlson, and he was actually interviewing Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins was talking about how his first home he bought was an 18%, right? And he said one of the things that people always forget to focus in on is buying a home is not about the interest rate. It's about the lifestyle change you're making, right? And if a rate's an 18% or a 7% or what it's at right now, drifting down to the 6s and the high 5s, the reality is you have to accommodate your lifestyle according to the home that you want to live in. And so what Tony was saying is when he was at 18%, he worked 18% more. And when he's at 7%, he worked 7% more, right? The reality is that rates are moving down right now. So last year they went way up as compared to where they were in 2021 and beginning of 2022. But you also have to understand we have a whole group of individuals, which are the millennial population, who didn't know anything else other than a 2 or a 3 interest rate, right? And the only reason why they were maintained at 2 and 3 for about 2.5 years was because the government artificially maintained rates low due to the shutdown of the economy due to COVID. Right now, where rates are standing right now, which is in the low 6s and the high 5s, that's a normal market. That is an absolutely very normal market. And even when rates went up to 8% last year, because they got all the way up into probably the mid-8s last year, it was still not all that bad if you look and see the historical numbers around interest rates. Historically, since rates have been measured over the past 60 years, the average rate is about 7.5% interest rate. So, are we taking advantage of it right now? Yes. And are people coming back into the market? We talked about this a bit earlier when you were talking about with Clutch City. One of the things that we've seen over the past 3 weeks is more buyers are coming back into the market right now over the past 3 weeks than what we've seen over the past 6 months. So the one thing that we're all preparing for right now is another market acceleration. There's not enough inventory in the market. There's still a lot of individuals, buyers who were left on the side. For every point that a rate went down, it brings in 5 million potential buyers back into the market in the United States in general. And so we're about to see another acceleration in the market. And so one of the things that I think individuals have to be prepared for is what have I done to get out there, to get pre-approved, to find out what's going on, to see inventory at my level, where I want to live. And we're also living in Houston, Texas, which is the number one location for individuals trying to find a job or relocating to. And those are USPS numbers. Those aren't my numbers. So it's pretty cool stuff.
And I wonder how many, they say thousands of people are moving here every month. I wonder if it's still thousands, and when's it going to stop?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, we have a big economist who's coming up here pretty soon to talk about what the numbers are. I think, from everything that I was hearing, Texas itself probably netted out about 400,000 net new move-ins to Texas last year. And between Houston, Dallas, and Austin, that represents 85% of all the individuals who are moving to Texas right now. And Houston represents the largest amount of those numbers, by the way. So if you take that into account, Houston's probably added an excess of 100,000 individuals last year alone.
We're talking with Chris Kelso, New American Funding. And Chris, you have physical presences around the city.
Correct.
Let's tell people where your offices are.
Probably the one that everybody knows. You know it very well, Bill. Is
You're going to say my favorite.
Your Cypress office right there. So we have an office right there in Town Lake, the boardwalk at Town Lake. Very nice. It's we overlook the entire lake right there. It's pretty cool stuff. It's open for all of our realtor partners to go and to work out of. It's open to all of our business partners, such as y'all as well, to come out and work out of. But more importantly is our offices are built so that when you walk into our office, you're not walking into a technical office. You're walking into like a home, right? We have a full kitchen set up. We have a full kitchen table. We have sofas, et cetera, et cetera. So we don't sit around a table with anybody or a desk with anybody. We sit around the table, the kitchen table or the kitchen bar. and or the sofa area. And so that's one of the big claims that we do. And then this year we've got that location. I've got my tried and true office that I've always liked, which is the one in Memorial off of Bunker Hill and I-10. Again, set up the exact same way. So we've got those two offices here. Last year, one of the things we did, we strategically looked at our offices and said, where do we want to be? And where can we save some money as well? And one of the things that COVID did a terrible job of doing is, did a great job of it, I guess, speaking on the commercial side, is people don't go back into the offices anymore, right? And so we looked around. I had 8 offices last year, and I said, of 8 offices, about 6 of them don't have anybody going into them anymore. So why have an open office for nobody going into it? So we consolidated everything around those 2 offices.
I never would say I'm an expert on commercial real estate, but I will say this, Chris, and that is if you ever relinquish your Cypress Boardwalk location, I bet there's someone right there that's going to scoop it up.
There is.
You know that, right?
Well, a big shout out
cool.
to Caldwell Communities. Caldwell is actually the owner of that center, and they obviously are a big developer and do a lot of cool stuff right there. And Caldwell uses our office nonstop for a lot of activities and events that they do around the community. So it makes it pretty cool. So we're very tight within them. And, the one thing I would say, yes, we have people all the time saying, when's your lease up? Because I'd like to go and take a look at that one. But we're very fortunate. We've been in that location about 6.5 years. And we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
So also give us a word on the types of loans right now. And when should someone's listening right now, they're getting geared up. They're thinking about market acceleration. And they're saying, this is the year. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy a home. I'm going to get on it. When should someone reach out to you to get this ready to go?
The best time is when it's best for you. And if you're planning on buying this year, it's never too early to reach out. Go ahead and start planning right away. Get the pre-approval process in place. One of the things that we do a lot of, we get everybody's information in, we pre-approve them, we look through their files. And if they don't qualify today or the next 6 months, then we put a plan in place for them to qualify over the next 8 months or 12 months or whatever that needs to look like. So number one, don't delay that process, right? Every time you delay that process, then all of a sudden the acceleration kicks up and then you're like, oh my gosh, guess what? Summertime's here, I want to buy a home. And if you're not prepared at that point, then you're going to miss out on some opportunities. So the best time to buy a home is always when it's best for you. But more importantly is get with somebody like me so we can get you pre-approved right away and plan, whether it be this month or 12 months from now. And then as far as products, there's not a product we probably don't have any out there. I mean, one of the things that I love, obviously, my VA products are some of my favorites. Is a big salute to all of our veterans out there. A reverse mortgage for the individuals over the age of 62 is also a really, really big area that we have a very big platform in. We have a one-time close, a true one-time close. We do all the non-QM products. So we have a lot of individuals who might have an ITN or a foreign national loan or a bank statement loan. We do all those as well.
What's a one-time close? What does that mean?
So one-time close is really for an individual who is looking at building their own home on land. And so you can do a 2-time close where you might go buy the land and then you find the builder and you combine those both together, you build on it, and then you do a second close. Or a one-time close is whenever you walk in at the very beginning and you got the land and you have the builder, and we just do a one-time close. So you just go in, you close it one time, and then everything is set up. Once that home is finished, it automatically converts it to a permanent.
So you're kind of saying New American Funding is making it easy, convenient for people.
We definitely do. I would say this. I've worked for some really, really good companies out there, some great companies out there. And in looking at the reason why we moved last year to New American is, number one was the servicing platform. I got tired of going to closing and not having control over my servicing. But more importantly is it's the breadth of products. Whenever we are as big as we are, and one of the things that this market's going to be doing, it's going to be changing some things out when it comes to individuals and what they or companies and who are going to survive and who are not going to survive. And New American Funding, privately owned, female-owned, Latin America. She's Latina, by the way. And so one of the cool things about that is we're in a really good position to not only grab market share, but also to create and continue to create raving fans when it comes to financing.
Very exciting. Chris, you're a very talented guy. Of all the things you could be doing, why money? How did you choose this role, if you could, in a minute or so?
Absolutely. My father and my sister. My sister is a loan processor in California. She called up my dad when my dad was retiring from Mexico. As you know, we all grew up in Mexico. Spanish is my first language. And my dad got into the mortgage industry. And one Thanksgiving, he came here to Houston and said, in 2000, and said, Chris, why don't you come out and do some of this work with me? I want to show you what I'm doing. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with being able to help individuals realize that American dream of the white picket fence and the home that you have right there. Nowadays, it could be a townhome, it could be a condominium, it could be 1,000 things. But I like the fact of helping somebody realize their dream. There has never been anything in any history of the world that creates more wealth than home ownership, especially here in the United States. And so to be able to have a little piece of somebody's future and their financial success is something that really excites me.
And let's tell people how they can reach you, Chris Kelso.
Absolutely. So you can always find me on my phone number, 713-256-9138. You can also go out to the web and find me on yourperfecthomeloan.com or newamericanfunding.com. But more importantly, reach out to me. That's usually the best way, 713-256-9138. It's my cell phone. You can text me. You can do anything you want to. I'm always available. And more importantly, we'd like to work with you.
And in Spanish, that number is
713-256-9138.
Thank you so much, Chris Kelso.
Thank you, Bill. Look forward to it as always, bud.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, once again, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance in 2024. John.
Bill, always a pleasure. Happy New Year.
Great job on the guest hosting just the other week. It was so good we ran it twice.
I know. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
People loved it.
It was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
Indeed. So let's tell people, here we are, show number 506, starting off once again, brand new year. Insurance is such an important topic, not just this year, every year, and I'm going to guess from here beyond. It's going to be important. You always have great stuff to tell people.
Well, it is, and we speak a lot about folks being properly insured, and I thought it would be a good time to get back around to that topic and get to some specifics about that, what are the ways that people can be properly insured so that they're comfortable with the decisions that they make. So when life happens, and it's going to happen to all of us, that they can get back to normal, whether it be their business or their individual lives as quickly as possible.
And I'll make the declaration, John, and that is 2024 should be the year for all of us to be properly insured.
Absolutely. Our president, Tom Carpentier, talks about 2024 as we're going to soar in 24. So we're going to make sure that and the way that we do that is by making sure that we have more and more individuals and more real estate firms that they're properly insured.
That's a great slogan. Soar in 24. So let's soar.
Well, I'll be sure and let him know that you approve.
Well, I know he's listening.
He's listening.
So we're going to hope he does.
Yeah, every Friday morning. I think the first thing to keep in mind when we talk about being properly insured is understanding risk and exposure. That we all face some level of risk, and all that is a probability of something bad happening. And then the exposure is the monetary damage from that risk. So our job is to work with our clients to make sure that we can help them minimize those risks, so lower that probability of something bad happening. But when it does, let's offset that exposure, offset that monetary damage onto an insurance partner. And we do that with folks in the real estate world as well as individuals and families.
Well, and that's so important because I think it's important to remind people about risk and also the idea of being properly insured, because this is also the time of year. I just got my insurance renewal for my car for February 1st. I renewed it and went on my way. And I hope I don't forget her first name, but Andrea Burrows.
Burrows, yes.
She is phenomenal,
She
John.
is
I got
fantastic.
lucky when I called her. She was super help and a fascinating individual. We got to talking.
She's really solid and very, very much client driven. She's very much fits our culture, and we probably have as good a team as we've had, at least since I've been part of the Stewart Insurance family. So Andrea is fantastic, and I'll be sure and tell her how much you enjoyed the process.
Well, she's a regular listener. I want to say she has a 5,000-pound bull that roams her yard. She sent me a picture. Did you see it?
That is correct. Yes. No,
goodness.
She and her husband Doug and their family live in South Texas.
Yeah, they live in their own country, like 350 acres, I think she said.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I do think they have their own country. Yeah, they're working on their own flag right now.
There you go. So in the meantime, back to insurance. Hey, Andrea, we're thinking about you.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things. From a business perspective, we'll work with a realtor, a real estate broker, property management firm, a lender or independent title and attorney agent on their business insurance. And that, there's several areas that we can work with them to offset. So we talk a lot about errors and omissions, or you might hear it called professional liability. But the idea being it's basically malpractice insurance for businesses. So if somebody feels like you haven't done your job as a professional, you haven't delivered the professional services that they feel like they should have received, and there's a claim made against you, that it helps with defense costs and some of the related expenses that would take place in that area. So most all of our real estate business clients have some form of errors and omissions coverage. The other one to take a look at that would be really important would be a general liability policy. So if someone to get hurt, in your office, or if you were showing a piece of property, you're having an open house, and someone was to be hurt, there's coverage there. Or if you were staging the property and you were to break a vase, let's say, then there could be some coverage there. It also helps with personal injury. So not so much that I broke my arm, but you hurt my feelings. So that there's, in an insurance world, they call that personal injury. So it can help with that. In some cases, we can combine commercial property with that general liability and write a business owner's plan. So it provides double coverage and usually at a more affordable premium. So again, depending upon your situation, we can help with combining the two to have a business owner's policy. Cyber liability is becoming more and more important across the world. I mean, it's a cost associated with a breach of data, whether the access is from you or data that you host or access through partners that you have. We can also write cyber plans that have some coverage for wire fraud if there's a situation where you're dealing with funds, that we can help with that with the wire fraud. If you have a significant staff, it's worth considering workers' compensation. So if your staff were to get hurt on the job, we can help with some of the coverage, the cost of the medical coverage, and it also helps the employer if there's a potential legal action from a staff member. That's where workers' compensation can come into play.
At Stewart Insurance, I know there's meetings on a regular basis to increase levels of customer service, also to learn about all the latest things, John. But are you expecting, have you talked about it this year? Because I'm thinking that this year could be a year where there are more cyber policies written, more of the E&O policies, and all those protection policies, especially the categories of protection for real estate brokers that haven't quite got on the bandwagon yet. I'm guessing this could be the year of increase for them to be more protected than ever.
Well, I think there are a couple of things there that are valid points. One, not to be nitpicky, but I'm going to correct you. We don't have customers, we have clients, because we work with we try to build relationships with our clients and not be a transactional aspect. But you're exactly right. People, both individuals and real estate organizations, are becoming quite aware of what's happening in the marketplace, and it's either happened to them where they've had a situation where they've had a significant claim, or it's happened at an organization that they know. So we are seeing more and more clients, both on the personal line side as well as the business side, aware of what's happening and having a greater interest in being properly insured. And they're recognizing that it's not only a strictly financial decision, but it's also a business decision. And it's a matter, again, about how much risk you want to take on as an individual or a company versus how much risk you want to pass on to an insurance partner.
John, what are some of the other things we need to know?
Well, I think it's important that, if you do have commercial autos, that we can help with that as well. And then we also work with families and individuals. So one of the things that helps working with a company like Stewart Insurance, it's part of the Stewart family. So our goal is always to be the insurance resource for real estate. So part of what we do when we're working with our individuals and families is the first thing is how is the property going to be used? Because how the property is used is going to drive the type of coverage that you have. So if it's going to be your primary residence and you own it, that's a home insurance. But if it's something that you're going to be leasing out, then that's a different type of coverage. So understanding how the property is going to be used is critical. And then beyond that, then what are the other things that we need to have from a coverage perspective? Do we need to consider flood? And at what level do we need to consider flood? Does it need to be through the National Flood Insurance Program, or do we want to go through a private provider? Wind coverage, are we going to be able to have wind as one of the perils on the home policy, or do we have to write it separately? So those types of questions and conversations. And then what are the other things that you have in life? Do you have a bunch of toys? Do you have a boat? Do you have a motorcycle? Do you have an ATV? Let's talk about those as well.
You're covering all the bases. And by the way, as I said, I renewed my auto policy, and people talk about all these policies going up. Mine only went up about $10-15. But I'm a model driver.
But you are a model driver, yes.
So,
well, you're a model citizen.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I strive.
Well, when we talk with our personal lines clients, our individuals and families, we have levels and ratings, and the top rating is being a Bill Napick. So
there you go. You're too kind, John Bramlett. So let's tell people. But in the meantime, let's tell people how they can reach out to you at Stewart Insurance.
Well, they can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. In fact, we just established a Clear Lake Shores hotline, and it's 866-798-2827. They can learn more about us online at stewartinsurance.com, or they can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
John, I think there's someone in Alice, Texas right now that wants to be properly insured. What number should they call?
866-798-2827.
Thank you so much, John Bramlett.
Bill, always a pleasure.
I say it all the time. Stay close, especially in 2024, to your Stewart Title. Yeah, your Stewart Title Business Development Officer. And right now, Jennifer Bradley, who is the casting director for almost the whole show today. Jennifer, how did you do it?
I asked, and they said yes.
That's that simple. Sometimes people think we're geniuses, but when we put it down to simplicity, you have to ask, don't you?
You do.
No doubt about it. Well, let's tell people the offices that you serve for Stewart Title.
I am in the League City office off of 45 and 96, and they can reach me at 281-221-1508.
League City office. Now, are you in the 13th, 12th floor of a beautiful, luxurious condo down there?
I am not, no.
So, you probably have a nicer place, right? You have a regular house somewhere down there, right?
We have a regular house, yes.
That's awesome. So, one of the things that I tell people to stay close to a Stewart Title Business Development Officer, and we have them all over, and you're down there in the South, but you have events that take place. You have gatherings, educational things. So as you have prepared for this 2024, you have some things lined up that we should know about?
I have Ted Jones coming on January 24th, which is in several days. So I'm excited to hear what Ted has to say.
Right, and we'll be telling people what some of the things that he brings forth at those events going on all this week, actually. So, but in the meantime, as you bring forth things, people can reach out to you by calling
281-221-1508. 281-221-1508.
And we hit it on the head, Jennifer. Just ask, right?
That's right.
That's right. Jennifer Bradley, thank you for being with us. And now, they're back. Redfish Home Inspection, Will Meisgade, Cheyenne. Did I get it?
You got it.
Cheyenne Sprouse. Hey, guys, welcome back as we close the show. What else should we know? Well, let's start with Cheyenne.
Well, like and follow us on Facebook. We would love to just come out, have coffee with you, visit with you, and see how we can partner up in the new year.
That sounds good. They can reach out to you very easily, Cheyenne. What's your number, by the way, again?
I'm going to give you my personal one this time,
832. So we had to work into that.
Into it,
The number is?
832-444-5554. 832-444-5554.
And, Will, let's tell people, again, the whole French thing, the Finland, I mean, that's all fascinating.
I'm international.
You're an international guy, but you're helping people with home inspections right here in Houston, Texas, in a tremendous way. By the way, do they have home inspectors in France?
They have somewhat of the same program, except that sellers have to have their home inspected for asbestos and lead.
Over there. Because the buildings are older?
They're a lot older. Some of them are older than this country.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So, in the meantime, when was the last time you were back there in France?
For New Year's.
No, you were there for New Year's?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
hanging around the Eiffel Tower with fireworks?
Not this
or-
time. So we own a family business in the central part of France, and so my parents have 16 grandkids now, and so it was 26 of us partying.
That sounds good. I'm dreaming about some of that French food. So one more time, let's tell people the one distinction of Redfish Home Inspection.
We are a all-in-one company. We can do all types of inspections.
And they can reach you, Will, at
713-568-8184.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
They are back. J.P. Byers, Joshua Beard. That's right, everybody. If you're paying close attention, we've had teams on this show today, at least in 2 of our segments, and they're back. Gentlemen, welcome back. So we're closing things down. What else should we know? JP.
Market's changing. It's coming. This year is going to be a year to break records that people thought couldn't be broken.
That's true. Joshua?
I same thing. I think it's going to be the year that if you've been waiting, this is the time to jump.
Absolutely.
Probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're even thinking about buying a home, I'm thinking this is like the time, January, the end of January, February is probably a tremendous time. Weather's better. Get the rates while they're still in the right place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and if you wait, there's just going to be more people are going to come into that space that's going to be buying. So if you're wanting to be a little less competitive and get what you're wanting to get, then this is the time to jump.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I would steal a line from another lender out of our office. Chris, I apologize, but he always says date the rate and marry the house.
No doubt. We hear that a whole lot. JP, let's tell people how they can reach you. The phone number is?
713-423-5898.
Joshua?
281-917-4268.
And thank you so much for being with us. Here he is, Christopher Kelso. The company is New American Funding. Well, Chris, as we close things down, Chris,
Yes.
What else should people know?
First and foremost, here's what I want them to know. Thank you, Stewart Title, for inviting us on here and for letting all of us be on here today. And so if you are looking at opening up title, buying a home, selling a home, or doing anything, you have to look up Stewart Title and your reps. And then secondly, John Bramlett, he talked about this. Insurance is imperative to have somebody to go to. And so the one thing, if you're not reaching out to John and not having your insurance checked on an annualized basis, you're missing out on a great opportunity to potentially save money, especially with what insurance has been doing over the past year and a half.
Because the declaration has been made, 2024 is the year of being properly insured, right,
That
Chris?
is correct, absolutely. And and you mentioned right there, it's never too late to reach out and find out where you need to be. If you're looking at buying a home this year, reach out to me. I'd love to speak with you, love to have that conversation, love to get you pre-approved. If you're a senior, would love to talk about a reverse mortgage. And if you're a veteran, would love to get you into a VA loan.
Chris, let's tell people how they can reach you.
Absolutely. 713-256-9138. In Spanish, 713-256-9138.
Thank you so much, Chris Kelso, New American Funding. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Nampick, together with John Bramlett. All of us at Stewart Title, at Stewart Insurance, we appreciate you listening. We're excited about this year as it unfolds, all the real estate excitement and adventures that lie ahead. That's right, they're right here. You can check us out every Sunday at 5 p.m. In addition, simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right, stewart.com/radio. The complete show archives are there, complete with video, audio, all the great features, all the great guests. We'll see you next week. This is Show 506, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.